Lads, as always, before we get into this match reaction, make sure you are subscribed if you're enjoying all my content, and if you haven't yet done so, as always, then of course remember to like the videos already to go along with it, give me as much support as possible. Click the bell so you never miss out on one of my latest uploads, and as well as that, then remember to share this as many people as possible to really help and push the algorithm. And so then, lads, getting into this very special match reaction. Liverpool 1, Man United 2 match reaction. It has finally happened. For the first time in nearly a decade, United have won at Anfield. The last time we won at Anfield, the winner was scored by Wayne Rooney. And finally, the Anfield Hoodoo has ended here. And finally, we have won at this ground for the first time in nearly a decade, nearly 10 years. Not only that, Ruben Amorim, for the first time since taking the reins nearly a year ago, has won back-to-back Premier League games. And for the second season in a row, we've gone away to the defending Premier League champions and won 2-1. Oh my word, lads, what a game that was. From minute 1 to minute 90, I enjoyed that one, of course, apart from the small spell of the match where Liverpool brought it back to 1-1 and was feeling a bit deflated during that moment of the game, I have to say. However, apart from that, I enjoyed that lead, and I am cherishing this victory as much as possible. What a victory being out of here, and guess who called it? Me. If you go back to my prediction video, you will see I called it. The majority of people were saying Liverpool were going to win this one. Many people wouldn't have even given United hope and chance here in this one. However, I said United would win this one. I didn't get the score 100% correct. However, I predicted United to win against all the odds. And what happened? We won the game. From minute 1, Brian and Mbeumo opening the scoring in front of the Kop. You know, it was cold as ice there. To near the end, Harry Maguire, cold knee slide in front of the Liverpool fans. A fantastic cushioned header too. In past Mamardashvili. Oh my word, lads, we've done it here. And this was the perfect time to catch Liverpool, of course. You know, that's what I was sort of thinking coming into this one. Before this one here, Liverpool, 3 defeats on the trot, back to back before the October international break. And as well as that, then against Sunderland, our last game before this one, we looked much better, much more improved. And so I thought if there's ever a time for us to end Anfield Hoodoo and win away against Liverpool, this was the time. And of course, it was the time here. Every single player stepped up, proved their point here in this one, stepped up and proved their mark. I said Ruben Amorim had a plan on this one. He bloody well did have a plan, and it was executed for the second time in a row perfectly here at Anfield. Every player stepped up too. Overall, the performance today, absolutely fantastic, of course. And hopefully now, this is a mental barrier, not only for winning at Anfield, but winning back-to-back Premier League games for the first time in nearly a year, of course. Hopefully now, that's a mental barrier which we've hopped over, and hopefully now that could be one of the biggest victories, not only for our season, but not only for the results-based sort of part of our season, but as well as that, the morale-based part of our season too. That's a massive morale booster, and surely we can kick on from that and make this season a very good one overall. But before we do get on my player ratings, I just want to take a brief moment to talk about how bad Liverpool are now. I mean, listen, they were the dominant team in the day. I can say that, of course. Many would say, I mean, listen, obviously, I do believe United were deserving of a win here in this one because, I mean, you know, ultimately at the end of the day, I thought, you know, defensively we were very good, and going forward in the counter-attacks, I thought, you know, we were much more clinical in Liverpool. That definitely is reflected by the scoreboard, and therefore I do believe we just deserved this one. However, this game at the end of the day could have been much, much worse for us, of course. Cody Gakpo hit the post twice. How many times was the ball so close to trickling over the line, of course? And even the goal of the gap, it was a real scrappy goal by Cody Gakpo. Gakpo could have really got so many goals here in this one. So, in a sense, we are sort of lucky in the end. However, I do believe still we're well deserving of this victory. But as well as that, then, I mean, Liverpool, players like Alexander Isak, Florian Wirtz, Mohamed Salah, all absolutely useless. I mean, Isak was completely anonymous here in this one, as was Florian Wirtz. Salah wasn't anonymous. However, anytime he got the ball, anytime he took a shot, he was just terrible here in this one. And I have to say that it really is really good to see. Of course, their back line is in bits too. Virgil van Dijk with yet again another disaster class here in this one. Canada continues his poor form. Kirkes continues his poor form as well. Overall, it's fantastic to see Liverpool lose. It's fantastic to beat Liverpool, beat the scum at Anfield for the first time in nearly 10 years. And well then, lads, that's all I'm going to say for now. let's get on to my Man United player ratings. Starting off in nets then with Peter Schmeichel, or should I say San Lemens, sorry, but he may as well be Peter Schmeichel because how good he's been in his first 2 games so far as United keeper. The Belgian goalkeeper's only had an 8 here in this one. I thought San Lemens overall here in this one, fantastic. The goal wasn't really anyone's fault, of course. Liverpool were knocking on the door the entire game. They were eventually going to score, and I mean, the goal happened to be just a good bit of play from Liverpool, obviously. It was a bit of a top in there too. So, in my opinion, am I blaming anyone for their goal? No, but San Lemens overall here in this one, what a performance he had, of course. The saves he was making, especially in the first half, were top notch. In the air too, strong hands, didn't drop the ball once at all, under pressure too, especially. And I thought his distribution actually was fantastic here in this one too now. I know a lot of them long balls ended up in Liverpool possession straight away. However, those long balls created 50-50s. We won a lot of them, of course, and that definitely created a bit of chaos and havoc amongst the Liverpool team and their backline as well. So, in my opinion, Lemens, definitely much better distribution than the likes of Andrew Onana and Altay in there. I was such a pressure. That's such a game full of pressure, and I mean, players like Onana and Ben there more than likely would have folded eventually at Anfield there, but San Lemens didn't. He stuck to his guns. He was amazing throughout the match here, and it really is starting to look like we've got an absolute gem of a goalkeeper on our hands. So San Lemens here, they kickstart the player ratings, we'll get an 8. On to the back 3 then next, starting off with Luke Shaw, who's going to get an 8 here as well. I thought Luke Shaw was absolutely exceptional here in this one, of course. Going in the tackles fearlessly, of course, under pressure too, handled the pressure very well, got the ball out of harm's way, out of trouble quite a lot of times here in this one too. And as I mentioned earlier on, of course, the tackles he was making here in this one, fantastic overall. Definitely is best performance so far this season in my opinion, and it was a real Warriors performance here by Luke Shaw in the back line. So Luke Shaw then, an 8 here in this one, very, very impressive overall. Harry Maguire, 9, of course, maybe you could give him a man of the match as well, of course, but Harry Maguire, once again, as soon as I seen his name on the team sheet, I knew we were in for another Harry Maguire masterclass here at Anfield, and that's exactly what we got here in this one. Defensively so solid, of course, kept Alexander Isak quiet for basically the entire game, of course, and then of course, when the big moment came, cometh the man, cometh the hour, he steps up once again. Bruno Fernandes with the cross and the header was just perfect from Harry Maguire, as it always is. You could sense, the aura of Harry Maguire going up to that corner. You just knew he was going to score from that corner, and what did he do? He scored yet another slab head bottle header, and of course he won us the game here in this one. Last season at Anfield, we probably should have won, and it was Harry Maguire who had the perfect chance in his hand to win it there to make it 3-2. His shot went over the crossbar. This season around, he's redeemed himself. Redemption for Harry Maguire. His knee slide as well was so cold. And here in this one, winning this game at Anfield, giving us our first victory at Anfield in nearly 10 years. And overall, defensively, so good here in this one. So Harry Maguire gets a 9 here. Not man of the match, however, definitely is in contention of being man of the match. And to finish off the back 3 then with Matthias Deck, I'm going to give Matthias Deck a 7 here in this one. He wasn't as good as Luke Shaw or Harry Maguire in my opinion, but still, the lift was pretty solid here in this one. Did all he had to do, of course. Good tackles, good, capabilities under pressure as well. So the Dutchman, in my opinion, also was impressive. So the let down of this one can get a 7. On to the wing backs then next, starting off with Diogo Dalot at left wing back. And I have to say, Diogo Dalot, for the first maybe hour of the match, I wasn't happy with him. I thought he was a bit of a weak link in this team. But overall, when I see his performance from the entire 90 minutes, I have to give him a 7 here in this one. I thought Dalot, especially near the end of the match, really improved big time, of course. Now, as I did say in the first half and best in the second half too, he was looking shaky. He was like later on down the line in this one, he could become a weak link for us. However, as the game progressed on, he just got better and better to the point where at the end of the game, he was putting in hard crunching tackles. He was very, very well capable under pressure as well, and his passing too near the end of the match as well was also looking good. In the times here in this one too, he was also looking good at bringing the ball forward. So overall, once again, Diogo Dalot, I wasn't too sure about him for the most part. However, in the end, he turned out just fine. And so here in this one, definitely was overall an impressive display by Dalot. And so in my opinion, he can get a 7 here in this one. And a right wing back then, Amad Diallo, an 8 here, of course. His game was sort of cut short because of a disgraceful yellow card he got in the second half, which he cleanly got the ball, but because he caught a bit of, I think it was, I don't even know who he was, he caught Gakpo maybe, because he caught a bit of his leg, he got needlessly booked there, of course, and that, of course, forced Amram to sub him off, not taking any risks there, of course. But overall, in his cameo, he was fantastic there, of course, fantastic assist for Brandon Mbeumo's goal, of course, within the first minute of the match in front of the Cop. Fantastic Trivela pass, into Mbeumo, who slipped in, past Van Dijk and Canada, and a brilliant finish, obviously, in past Mamardashvili, but that was created by Amad Diallo, and here in this one too, such a threat, of course. Anytime we're about Anfield, Amad Diallo steps up. It was like that last season. It was like it this season. And once again, it was brilliant to see Amad Diallo back in his good form here in this one. So Amad Diallo, once again, giving the Liverpool defence nightmares. A brilliant assist for Bryan Mbeumo. And so here in this one, a fantastic threat down the right-hand side. He can get an 8 here in this one. On to the two midfielders then, starting up with Casemiro. He was okay. I'm going to give him a 6 here in this one. Wasn't one of our best players, but I thought at times in this one he had good moments in the midfield. He was making a couple of good tackles here and there. He did get a bit of a dodgy yellow card there, of course, and that eventually did lead to him coming off there. It was a bit of a reckless challenge here in Salah. Definitely, I could have seen one more of those in his tank there in that one. And so I was happy to see Amram sub him off straight away there, of course. Once again, not taking any risks, of course, especially in a player like Casemiro, who could have easily got sent off there in that one had he stayed on. So overall here, Casemiro, he can't play better in my opinion, but he was okay overall. So the Brazilian for me can get a 6. And alongside him then in midfield, Bruno Fernandes will get a 7 here in this one. Overall, Bruno Fernandes, I was happy with his display. And overall, of course, his performance was summed up by that fantastic assist for Harry Maguire's winner, of course. Didn't have to take the ball down. He didn't have to take a touch or two. Just volleyed it straight into Harry Maguire's head. Perfect cross there, of course, on the volley as well. And so overall, for that alone, he does deserve a positive rating. So overall, I thought Bruno Fernandes looked good. He was a good captain in this one, good leader. As the game progressed on, he was worse than a wee bit, in my opinion, which does drag his rating down a wee bit. And I thought Amram subbed him off at the perfect time too, right after that winning goal for United as well. So overall, Bruno Fernandes still, he can play better in my opinion, but still, overall for the most part in this one, he was looking good. A brilliant assist as well for Harry Maguire. He looked like a real leader out in that pitch for United too in this one. So ultimately then Bruno Fernandes overall was a positive display by the captain, and so Bruno can get a 7 in this one. On to the front three finally then, starting off with Mason Mount. He'll get a 6 here. Now Mason Mount, maybe that could be seen as a bit of a harsh rating for Mason Mount, and maybe you can get why people think that could be a harsh rating for him as well. However, I do believe still, yes, compared to other games this season, he wasn't doing too much with the ball. He wasn't getting the ball too much. He wasn't creating as much either. That definitely is something I did notice. However, what I did notice as well was, when he wasn't creating as much, he was doing a lot more dog work. Of course, he was working a lot harder, chasing the ball down, trying to win back possession too. Good pressing from him as well here in this one. But ultimately too, I don't think he does enough to get a higher rating than 6 here. He still was okay. He still put a shift in. Of course, I still was proud of his performance here in this one. However, I do believe still there could have been more to come from Mason Mount. But still, we won the game in the end. He did all he could there in that one. He did the dirty work. And ultimately, in my opinion, Mason Mount was okay in this one. Therefore, I give him a 6. Alongside him then is the other number 10, Bryan Mbeumo, and 8 here in this one. I thought Bryan Mbeumo, once again in this one, alongside Amad Diallo on the right-hand side, was absolutely fantastic, absolutely electric throughout the entire game. That first goal, of course, within 61 seconds, perfectly slipping in past Van Dijk and Canada, as I mentioned earlier, and a brilliant finish in past Marbardashvili, and shrugging in front of the cop too. Amazing, of course. And what did he do for the rest of the game? He backed that goal up. He kept on threatening down the right-hand side. He was brilliant all game, of course. Probably could have even got another goal for himself another day, of course. However, we'll not get too greedy. Of course, 2-1, winning at Anfield. So I'm very, very happy with that result there overall. And so overall, Mbeumo, very, very threatening. A brilliant opening goal as well in front of the Cobb. And overall, in my opinion, can he ask for much more from Bryan Mbeumo? No, I don't think so. So Mbeumo once again proving that he has been a fantastic signing for us so far this season, and he can get an 8 here in this one, the Cameroonian. And to finish off the team then with my man of the match, and getting a match rating of 9, it is Matheus Cunha. Oh my word, lads. Now, I know Matheus Cunha, he didn't get another goal. He didn't get another assist here. He's still yet to get a goal or an assist, I believe, so far this season in the Premier League. However, in my opinion, he was still the best player on the pitch. Why? Because every time he got the ball, he just couldn't lose it. That's simply put it there, of course. He just couldn't lose the ball, and he had Dominic Szoboszlai hanging out of his ass the entire game. It was actually really getting on my nerves. It was really disgraceful the entire 90 minutes. Matheus Cunha, every time he got the ball, he had at least one Liverpool player, mostly Dominic Szoboszlai, just hanging onto his arm, grabbing him, tussling with him the entire game, yet still, even with that roughness and even with that foul play throughout the entire game, which was never called by Michael Oliver either, he still kept going. He still showed calmness. He still did show tacklers here in this one. And in my opinion, Cunha, I knew why Amram started Cunha ahead of Sesko as a striker because he wanted Cunha to be the link man in the front three. I do believe he was perfect in that role, of course. And once again, like he was proving that goals and assists don't mean everything for attackers, especially because Cunha, fantastic. Even though he wasn't involved in either goal, he still was amazing. He still helped us going forward. And in my opinion, he was the best player on the pitch. Therefore, he gets a match rating of 9 and is my man of the match from this fantastic and historic victory away at Anfield. All the 5 subs then being Patrick Dorgu, Manuel Garda, Benjamin Sheshko, Kobe Manu, and Lani Euro all getting 6s, all played a role here in this one. All couldn't do much more, so I think all the 5 of them getting the 6s, fair enough rating there. And to finish off then with Ruben Amram, 9 here in this one. Perfect stuff from Ruben Amram, of course. Tactically, the team selection, the tactics, the formation, the adaptation, the subs throughout the entire game, all implemented perfectly here in this one. He knew what changes he had to make. He knew when he had to make these changes. He knew when we needed to execute different game plans, of course, and overall, like, I just think, Liverpool just couldn't handle our game plan here in this one. That probably is the reason why we have left Anfield with 3 points. Ultimately, of course, Amram is the manager who's won us a game in Anfield. He's the manager who's ended the Anfield curse, and he has finally won back-to-back Premier League games. It's taken bloody long enough, however, to do that and get it done at Anfield of all places too is so sweet. So hopefully now he has finally hopped over a bit of a mental barrier there, and hopefully now he can guide this team on to bigger and better things and make this season a memorable one, of course. So overall, Ruben Amram, do I have much to complain about? Nothing at all, really. A fantastic display by him tactically as a manager, and here in this one too, winning this game at Anfield 2-1 against our fiercest rivals Liverpool. Absolutely fantastic. More to come, please, for the rest of the season, Ruben Amram. Anyway, lads, we're going to end today's fantastic 2-1 victory match reaction. I hope you enjoyed it, of course. What do you think about the match? Who was your man of the match? Was it Matheus Cunha, or do you think it was Harry Maguire? What do you think about United's display? How good were we in this one, but how bad were Liverpool as well? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you all then. Remember, as always, to like the video, subscribe if you're new, click the bell, and as well as share this video to as many people as possible. And so then I'll see you all in the next one here in KDFG. What a win at Anfield. Come on, United.